So it's 2 in the morning, it's raining, I've got nothing better to do, so why not explain how Trainstation works in Half-Life 2 done quicker. It was said in the comments of Done Quicker that people were going to upload commentaries to their own channel. However, only one person has done that, and it's been like 2 months since the release, so I'm going to do some of these myself. Alright, so I'm going to start at Trainstation and then upload this, and then like maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, depending on my schedule, I'll upload canals and whatever else, you know. It's not going to be all done at the same time because that'd take too much of my time and too much of my bandwidth. So I'm going to do this on a weekly basis, so a chapter a week. How does that sound? Yeah, this isn't going to make much sense once they're all uploaded, but whatever. What's the first thing we do? First thing we do is we clip into this guy, and then we appear above the train. So I've already described this in another video on how clipping works, but I'll do it briefly. So we basically crouch into this guy and then we sort of phase through him, the player phases through him, and then notice in the top right corner there it says server stuck on object 270 models, and then it lists the model path. Whenever this message appears, that means the server is stuck on something, or the game is stuck on something. Same thing. And when you make a save, so I've just made a quick save, when you make a save and then load that save, the game pushes you up slightly. So I have a feeling that Valve, this is just my opinion because I don't have any proof, but this is just what I suspect. I suspect that Valve implemented a system where if you accidentally get stuck in an object somehow, and you make a save, and then you load that save later, Valve have tried to assure the player that when they load that save they won't just be stuck in that forever, so the game will push you up slightly, just to make sure you don't get stuck in something. However, this doesn't really work properly when you get stuck on a wall, because we've basically got stuck in this guy and we've already save loaded once and we're still stuck. So if I save load again, we're still stuck. So we decided we can basically make use of this glitch by getting stuck in things that are very tall. And whenever this server appears and you save and load, the game will try and make you unstuck by pushing you up. So the way this works is, despite there being a gap in between this guy and the train, there is still enough of a, the player is still tall enough to be able to save load continuously, so that the player save loads out of the guy we just clipped into and into the train. So right now we're like halfway through the train, like so. And now we're still slightly above the train, now we're above the train completely and we can move around. So that's how we skip the train. And that saves us about maybe 30 seconds or 25 seconds or so. So that's a nice little skip discovered by Lots of S, I think. He's an old Half-Life 2 streamer. I don't know if he streams it anymore, but he was involved in Dwamov, and he was also one of the first people to speedrun Half-Life 2. So the next thing we do is we strafe in a circle to get a little bit of speed, so we can continue to gain some speed and bunny hop towards this staircase here, and then we get a bunch of height. So the way that works is, let me just use no clip and that to gain the speed to show you how that works. But the way this works is, next to the set of stairs there's actually a slope here. So we can crouch and we can go up this slope really nice and smooth. But if you crouch and then go up these steps, there's sort of a rigid kind of non-smooth path up the steps. So that means we can crouch and we can use the smoothness of this step to launch if I could get it. Well, maybe not, but this is hard. Well, whatever, but there's a difference between using this slope here and these stairs here, because jumping straight into the stairs sometimes stops you, and it's not a very reliable like ramp, whereas this just lets you go straight up. So that's how we get all this speed to jump up and over. Let me tell you about clip rushes. So this is a clip rush. It's basically an invisible wall. So it looks like I can walk here, right, but I can't, because there's a clip rush in the way. And when the train stops, it's basically covering this hole in the clip rushes here with the train, so you can't get out. So because this hole in the train is here, we can just bunny hop past it and then through the hole to get back into the game level. So that's a nice way to skip the train. I'm not really going to explain what we do next here, because I've already covered clipping in another video very thoroughly. So I'll link it here in the video using an annotation. Click that annotation and go to my video where I sound like a total deadbeat, because I think I recorded that at 4 in the morning when I got off a flight to Singapore, and I just got to the hotel and I was fucking tired. So yeah, it's really unfortunate because I got a fuckload of views and I really don't sound up to par on that video. So yeah, anyway, we grab this suitcase here, and because of the speed we're at, when you're going really quickly, the prop wants to lag behind you. So like this, for instance, I'm going too quickly, the prop just drops itself. But if you're going too quickly and you look down, like that, you can like fly on the prop, because you're holding the prop and you're also jumping on it. So if you have speed, you can sort of fly like it's magic carpet, like this. It's pretty easy. And you can even turn in midair if you're good, kind of like that. Yeah, it's a good way of getting vertical speed and horizontal speed. Sorry, it's a good way of getting height. So if I wanted to like prop climb to over to here or something, I could if I wanted to. Yeah. I really hate this seeking thing. So we grab the prop, and then as we're going quickly, it lags behind us and above our and below our feet, so we're then basically jumping on it while we're holding it. So that's like a portable platform we can stand on and move around on, and that allows us to go above this turnstile here. So we go just over the turnstile, and then we come here, and then we do the J-clip glitch. Again, I'm not going to explain it here because I've already explained it elsewhere. We J-clip through the level, and we go up smoothly because every time you J-clip, well, every time we J-clip, every save and load we do, or if we can just get this to work, hang on. Every save and load we do that takes us vertically, we turn that save into a frame. We basically load the save and screenshot the save, and that turns into one frame. So every time we save and load, that equals one frame. So we get a nice seamless transition at 60 frames per second through the roof like that. And then we turn around and we bunny hop using a pre-strafe. So let me explain how pre-strafing works. It's not very useful to do with this set without the suit, so give item. So notice the top right corner there. We have the velocity value, the mouse and look angle value, and then the positional value, vertical and XYZ. So if I'm moving forward, back, left and right are all the same speed. But if I do W and A, that's the same speed as well. However, if I look to the right, I get a little bit of extra speed. So I'm strafing around like this and getting some extra speed. So I can reach up to 240, 250 units per second, which is considerably faster compared to the normal walking speed, which is 190. So if I were to sort of do A, W, and then look in a 90-degree angle, look 90 degrees to my left, I can then get a bunch more speed before I start hopping. So this, for example, is a lot faster than just doing that. And we use sprint to make it even faster, so we can get up to 400 in velocity or units per second. Just by sprinting, and that's really good for gaining speed quickly. So we do like a 145 degree. No, not even. It's like a 180 degree strafe. So that gives us a ton of speed. Considering we don't have the suit yet and we're still walking around really slowly, that really helps. So now we enter out of bounds. And we are out of bounds here when we save load through the roof. And we fall onto this invisible platform which ends just where this room starts. So like that. And then we fall underneath the map, and then we save buffer up. Again, I've already explained save buffering and the save buffering script. That's in another video, and I'm not going to take the time to explain it here because it's where I've already done it. And then we save load into this room where the level load trigger for Trainstation 2 is. So this is the level low trigger. Walk into that, and Trainstation 02 has begun. So let me see what we have skipped so far. So by clipping out of the train, we have skipped waiting through the train, waiting for the doors to open. Right? We have skipped going through the turnstile, going around here, going through the metal maze, and we have skipped waiting through the entire Barney cutscene, which is about 2 minutes long or something, and we have skipped the stacking puzzle. And this room, we just go straight underneath, up into this room, and into the next level. Really nice skip, routed by Morgan 67 and Rama. It's a shame Morgan didn't do any segments because he played quite a big role in the routing of this run. So yeah, really shout outs to Morgan 67. Yeah. So then we open the door, which would normally be open anyway, but it isn't because we load the game from the other side of the door. We grab this, we grab the brick, and then we J-clip with it through the top of the roof. So let's hope good RNG allows me to J-clip properly. Not quite. I'll have to use the barrel to get me some height. So that's how we get out of bounds, is we J-clip using the brick, and then we end up on top of the level like this. And that's another skip. So then Trainstation doesn't do as big of a pre-strafe as he should have, I don't think. And then he falls onto the ground here. I think, let me see. No, you didn't hear it. But earlier here, you will hear a you will hear the hurt sound, except when you get the suit, you'll end up at 100 health. That shouldn't be the case. It should be like 97 because you took damage. But in the early Trainstation levels, you are invulnerable. Until you get up to the section in Trainstation 04 where you're beaten up by the cops, you lose your invulnerability on that map. So before that map, you are invulnerable. So that is how we are able to take some fall damage and not die in the early levels. So then he save loads through the top of the level, and then under certain circumstances here, you can jump on some steps and gain some extra speed. So let me do what Trainstation did. He went under here where the grass is, and then he save loaded up through here and ended up back inbounds. But under certain circumstances, if you hit some set of stairs at just the right height, you will get a bit of a speed boost. It's not consistent, but Trainstation managed to do it in such a way that he gained a bit of speed. So he hits the top of the steps and he gains a bunch of speed, and then on trigger strafes around the corner and then grabs this pallet. Now it's not in his direct line of sight because he's going so quickly and the pallet is lagging behind him. And then Centaurium drops it on the ground and uses it to gain a bunch of speed. So as he hits this, he's bouncing off it and then going around, getting some height from that by hitting it, and then going over the fence, and then also taking it with him. So then we land around here, and then using the speed he already has, he gets a bunch of extra speed using the pallet, and then threads the needle through the doorway. If you already have a bunch of speed, so like this, I'm going at about 600 units per second. That's already twice the sprinting speed, so that's nice. But if you already have a bunch of speed, for example like this, sometimes you can go a lot faster. So that enables us to go around that section a lot quicker. And then we thread the needle through here into Trainstation 03. And we use this to prop fly at an angle up into the ceiling, which then we use the J-clip trick. And then we save load. And let me load Trainstation 03 quickly. We end up above this room, and then we do a quick jump to below here, and then we save load up to where the staircase is. Just like that. So now we're back in bounds. Let me show you what we skipped. In Trainstation 02, before I explain 03. So by going up here and going directly outside, what we've skipped is we've skipped the section where you put the can in the trash, right? And we also skip going through here, which is a bit of a maze, to be quite frank, because you have to like double back and then go back here. We've skipped that section. We take a very direct route, so from there to there to there, rather than all the way through here. Yeah. We could not have gone straight up here because I believe it would be slower, and there's actually no way to get from out of bounds from here like this, and then go over here, and then go back in bounds like that, because of the angle that these roofs are at and all that stuff. So I don't think it would have been faster. So we just went up here, around there, and around here, and yeah. So I already showed you how we did Trainstation 03, and I'll show you what we skipped. So Trainstation 03, we skipped having to go all the way up these windy staircases. Traditionally in Half-Life 2 speedruns, we can just go up here and then jump over this guy, and then continue going up the staircase to the room here, which is quick enough. I mean, sure, but skipping the staircase entirely is much faster. So after clipping, we end up in this room and we walk onto Trainstation 04. My voice cracks. So On Trigger does the same interesting like staircase boost thing he does. It's really not a massive boost, but it's enough to get you a little bit of that extra speed we need. And then we prop fly using this, and because we're going so quickly, it's not normally easy to prop fly on these cans. but because of Jared's speed, or Centurium's speed, and the like amount of times he attempted this segment, he's able to have this be underneath him and then not drop it. So that allows him to get on top of the roof. This is similar to Duamov's route, except much more direct, and we don't have to take a huge boost. We just jump over the roof, basically. Then we thread the needle into this room, and then we grab a plank. So grabbing the can, going up here, through here. Now, I'm just going to explain this. It's not very relevant, but normally, if you were to skip this section, you'd have this weird sort of area where half the map's visible and some of it isn't. This is because of world portals, and it's a method in which Valve increases the game performance by having parts of the map not render while you're not in them. So when you pass through certain triggers, so these are triggers, so for example, this trigger would stop the rest of that world, part of that map from rendering. This would stop the rest of what you can't see from rendering, and etc. But because we skip all those, we end up being in the situation where you sort of can't see something on the map like this. But in the render, what we do is we do R portals open all, and that means all the world portals are open and we can see everything. So that makes the render look nice and sort of, you know, streamlined, so you can tell where you are on the map without having to like be confused. And yeah, it doesn't apply to props for some reason, but that's how we did it in the render. So we go down here, and then we're going to use this this plank to J-clip in a second. So the guy on the left knocks us out, and that's where we lose our invulnerability. Like that. So then we end up grabbing the plank just before the cutscene, just before the cop hits us, and this is why the plank is in Alex's face. So then we go to the right and we J-clip with that plank, and then we fall underneath a level. And then we do a save load up until here, but you'll notice we end up on the next level without going back inbounds, which is what we'd been doing previously. Up until now, we'd always been going inbounds, then going to the next level, then going out of bounds. But in certain places, so we J-clip here with this, go up and then fall underneath the level. But in certain places where the level load trigger is, it kind of extends past the wall. So if you're out of bounds, you can also touch the trigger while you're out of bounds. So notice I'm still out of bounds, and I just touched the trigger, and then I've also remained out of bounds. So that means we can then continue to save load up, and now we're still out of bounds. So that's a neat trick we did on this map specifically, because the wall here is actually a lot thicker than the other ones are. So then we save load to the top of the map, and we jump off of this empty room. And I believe this empty room it's some kind of like placeholder texture for where these screens are, I guess, but for some reason that requires an invisible map. And then what the fuck was that? Oh, fucking old engine crash. Gee, that's a real trademark of this engine. I have to rebind everything, I think. That's gonna be shitty. Don't know why that crashed exactly, my apologies. So then we end up back here, and we've already gone past that bit anyway. So on trigger jumps below the suit room. Now that was really quick because of save loading, but let me slow it down to jarringly slow speeds. So he falls below the suit room and save loads up into the suit room. Now we have the suit. So that means once we're underneath the suit room, we can save load into the container that the suit is in. And here I am in the suit vault thing. Now we're still stuck in it, so that means we can continue to save load until we've got out of the suit room, where Lamar just disappeared. And yeah, now we're in the suit room, and we can use this box to J-clip out of the room again. So we do a fast wall climb. Now, the way these work is if you already have vertical velocity, you can, let's just do that. If you already have vertical velocity when trying to wall climb, the wall climbing will become much faster. So this is what it looks like when you're wall climbing normally, and this is what it looks like when you're wall climbing quickly, is because you already have some vertical velocity when you've grabbed that and started jumping. So that's how we're able to go so quickly. And then we do a J-clip and we run to the very end of this room here. Now the reason we run to the end of the room is because there's a divide here along this line between inbounds and out of bounds. So out of bounds has a property where if you jump more than once, more than 2 times or 1 time consecutively, you will end up crouched by default, and you cannot uncrouch until you reach like a step somewhere. But if you jump twice, you will become crouched. And if you duck, you cannot unduck. So that is a characteristic of out of bounds. However, this section here is inbounds because you can jump all you like, and you can crouch all you like. So we come to here and then we save load all the way up to where the Skybox is. And the Skybox is basically one really big clip brush that surrounds the entirety of the map. Now you can't see this in the clip brushes area because, with clip brushes shown on, because they're sort of classed as a different type of clip brush, probably because it's so big, but yeah. And right along this line here is where the beginning of inbounds is and where the end of it is. So when you're outside of the skybox, you are out of bounds. And when you're inside of it, you're inbounds. So right at this point where we start falling off, we are now out of bounds. So we reach the, we save load to the top of the skybox, so we can walk all the way up top across the top of it. Just like that. And then we continue to jump all the way around the outside, and we fall underneath the skybox, and we save buffer up to here, which is where this red building is, I believe. Yeah, right about here. So all the footage you just saw was done in January of 2016. And this segment where Rama just started, it was done in late or mid 2014. We spliced the footage to add some newer routes up until this point, because about halfway through the game in discovering, so halfway through the run, discovering J-Clip and a whole bunch of other new tricks in Trainstation, we didn't want to restart the game, so what we did was we completed the game in such a we restarted Trainstation and redid it with the newer strats, but in such a way that it adds total continuity and it makes sense to the speedrun's timeline up until this point. So there is no desynchronization of health or anything up until this point, so it's a very seamless cut in the run. So what Centaurium did was he save loaded exactly to where Rama save loaded, and exactly the same view values and everything. And that is how we managed to put the old and new Trainstation segments back together. Now what Rama does is he falls onto the ground and seemingly loses no health. Now what he does here is he does a thing called an edge bug. Now an edge bug is basically when you fall onto an edge, the game tries to run the check for health or health loss or health damage, or the algorithm or whatever it is, to calculate how high you fall from, what you've fallen on, and how much health to deduct from you. But if you were to fall on the edge of something and then fall off of the edge before the algorithm had finished trying to deduct your health points, the algorithm just stops and doesn't deduct any health from you, because the check for whether or not you're still on that sort of hasn't completed in time, because once it's done, it's detected that you've already fallen off. So it's a very, very quick process, and it's very inconsistent, but whatever. But fun fact, these pieces of cardboard actually have some elevation to them. So if you look at the 348 value in the top right corner, which is my y-axis, if I go over these, this will raise to 351. So these do have edges, and that's how Rama edge bugged off of the corner of these. Now, the next thing Rama did is called a trigger delay. This is a very complicated trick because it involves scripting. So let me open Notepad++ here and show you what it's like to make a a trigger delay script. Now, trigger delays involve using waits, and a wait is basically a time period in which nothing happens in the game. So we use W100 as an alias for wait. So W is the wait alias, and then we add 1,000 to the end, and that means 1,000 waits. And a wait is I'm not sure how long a wait is, because it's not one tick and it's not a set amount of frames, I don't think, so I couldn't really tell you how long it is, because every time you time it, it's always different. So it's kind of a game of luck when you're using waits, but we can have a sort of rough estimate as to how long we want the waits to be. So if we put 1,000 waits in between plus forward, and then minus forward, the game will do plus forward, which prompts the player to move forward, and then it'll wait 1,000 times, and in that time period nothing will happen. And then after that, it will execute the minus forward command, which will make the player stop moving forward. So if I put that in the console, or if I actually bind that to mouse 3, this is what will happen. Let me go somewhere else. It goes forward for 1,000 waits, and then it stops. You see, I didn't touch any keys. You can hear me pressing the keys the entire time. So I've just pressed the middle mouse button that I just bound it to, and it waits 1,000 times, and for some reason it loaded a save, but walks forward, waits, and the wait period ends, and it stops. So that's how waits work. Now, when you initiate a wait period, this also means any commands that the game tries to execute through the console will have to also wait to end until the wait period has ended. So what Rama did was he bound a button to a script that holds plus speed for sprint, and then plus forward, and plus jump, and wait maybe 3,000 or 2,000, I'd say. And yeah. So he bound that to a button, and then as he entered it, the game tries to execute the level change transition command. So I'm in it, it says I'm in the level transition, right? So I'm going to press the button, and then I'm going to walk into this. Oh, that didn't work at all. Fuck. Maybe if I just do this. going to walk into this while holding speed and forward, and then I'm going to initiate the wait period by pressing mouse 3. Did that really not work a second time? Jesus Christ. Okay then. I'll do it like this. I'll do wait 1000 twice. Oh no, I'll just do it once. So I'm going to walk through this, enable the wait period, and then I've just walked past it, and then I've waited a bunch, and then the level loads. So this is exactly what Rama does in his segment here. He's edge-bugged, and then he started the wait period with speed, W, and jump being held. And then he goes around the corner, and then the wait period ends, and then the next level loads, which is why all these trains appear suddenly. So that is how he's able to get past the fence without the crowbar. I didn't use enough weights that time, but you get what I mean. So that allows us to skip this fence here. Otherwise we would have had to find some way to get a bunch of speed and break this, which is what we do soon, but this turns out to be faster anyway because you end up on top of these trains. And then Rama jumps over the trains and then hits these planks. And then if you're going quick enough, you can break these planks pretty easily. You can even do it in new engine. But you have to go pretty quickly at a very shallow angle, I believe. Why is this not working? Fucking demonstrations never work when I want them to. There they go. So if you have a lot of speed, you can break these planks with just using your body. And I believe Duamov did this as well. In fact, it did do that. But anyway, so back in Trainstation 05, what we skipped was the entirety of the Red Letter Day cutscene here, and going through the whole teleporter scene here, which saves about 7 minutes in total, 7 or 8 minutes, and that is probably one of the biggest skips in Done Quicker. And then we saved waiting for Barney to show up and tell us about his day and give us a crowbar. And then we skip having to go through the labyrinth of trains in Trainstation 06. And then we skip having to use the crowbar to break these, we just use our body. And then we grab this, I'm just going to continue on to the beginning of canals despite going like chapter by chapter, or map set by map set rather. So we grab this piece of wood, and then Rama goes down here, and then he initiates another trigger delay by enabling the wait period of about, I don't know, it looks like maybe 1,500 waits. And then he wall climbs, and when the wait period ends, he ends up in Canals 01. So this is roughly where the wait period ended up in this square here. So when the wait period ended, Rama ends up having prop flew into this metal bit here, up where the pipes are. So that allows him to save load all the way up into this spot here, in Canals 01. And that's the beginning of Canals 01 and the end of Trainstation. Well, the entire Trainstation and Red Letter Day chapter, I believe. So yeah, that's the first one I'll do. This is the first explanation video I'll do. I'll do these map by map, so separate videos every map, because I've already been going for like an hour, and I'm sure you don't want to see like